Hi VC, this is Bev here, Clarkovision. In this video, it goes out to Tim Line actually. This one's really a response, which I thought I would do as a video to one of his recent videos. He had put up a video showing his latest pickup, which was pretty cool, I have to confess. And he asked a question as well about what kind of music do you listen to help lift you up or get you out of a rut, I think was how he described it. If you're in some kind of you're just kind of just not having a good time and you need to kind of shake yourself out of it or whatever, that kind of idea. Feeling a bit down, a bit depressed, that sort of thing. What do you do to listen to, or who do you turn to for that kind of, to help you come out of your doldrums, I guess. So Tim, I'm just going to try and explain a wee bit about what I just on past experience, and maybe a couple of suggestions I might throw out. But first of all, I understand how you feel. I have had first-hand experience with depression and anxiety in the past, so I've been there and I know what it's like. So there was, the 90s was kind of my worst time. The 1990s was a very difficult decade for me for a number of reasons, to be honest. And the change in the music from the 80s was a big thing as well. And so music definitely suffered from my point of view as well. Music went from being my entire life to not really being in my life at all during the 90s. And then there was a time in the early 2000s where I came slowly, bit by bit, back to music. But that's another story. But as I say, in the 90s I suffered major depression issues, and this in turn brought on anxiety, chronic anxiety issues, and it was kind of affecting just normal everyday life that people generally take for granted. And so at this stage I kind of stopped listening to the music, and what I do recall, there's two kind of musical areas that came into my life. One was more to help with relaxing and calming, and the other was to lift you up, to build you up, to make you feel better, to kind of give you a bit of faith and hope, if you like, uplifting kind of stuff. So obviously when I was in the throes of depression, I did a lot of things to help myself and came out of that, and I'd kind of, once I'd conquered the depression part, not conquered, once I'd got it under control and the anxiety had kind of taken over, you look to sources everywhere, things that can help you, and one of the things I started to come across, believe it or not, to help try and relax me or calm me down was this kind of, there's a Nature Quest series out there. Some of you may have heard of this, I have no idea. And there's other series, not just Nature Quest, but there's other types of the same idea. This one is called Heaven and Earth, and it's put together by a guy called Jeff Webb. That's Global Journey. And this one, again, this is Global Journey, so that's Cascade, right? And these are all, that's another Global Journey, The River. And the last one I've got here is by North Sound, actually, and that's Deep Woods and Deep Waters. And these are all, what this is reflective, it describes it on the front of this one here, and they are reflective instrumental music with sounds of the wilderness or sounds of nature. And so you'll get things like bird sounds, animal sounds, running, trickling water, river, falling rain. You might get thunderstorms, you know, and all kind of just nature, sounds of nature, being out near a stream or a river or the ocean or whatever. And I would just put these on, find some quiet time, just put them on, lie down or sit down, close my eyes, and just try to visualise myself in, say, a place like a forest or where there's a waterfall or something, somewhere in nature. And these things did help, I will say they did help. Sometimes they were more effective than others, but they did help in some ways to calm me and help me to relax at times. So that's one thing as an alternative, is to maybe seek out something like that. You can find them online anywhere, or I think bookshops and stuff like that, they sell them. And then for the uplifting side of things and the picking up and cheering up, I also went for, there was, again in the early 2000s, my own personal life, I wanted to be get myself a bit closer to God. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I just thought, well, you know, if anybody's going to help me, it's going to be God, you know, and I wanted to learn to strengthen my faith. And it first was brought to my attention when we had cable TV or Sky TV at one point, and there was all these kind of Christian type channels, and there was a handful of them, and some of them would have gospel music, worship, praise, worship, gospel stuff, and so I discovered through one of these channels there was something known as the Gotthard Gospel series. And it's Bill and Gloria Gaither and their homecoming friends is what this series, if you like, is about. And I believe it's the kind of southern gospel artists. I would imagine they're fairly well known in America and certainly in the Christian kind of worship sector. I don't even know if that's the right word, but you know. And so I started listening to some of this because I thought that sounds kind of catchy and upbeat, and I liked the lyrical content as well. I found this is one of the times where the lyrics really can speak to you, and they can bring out some emotions, you know, relief. They can bring out stress. They can bring feelings of hope and happiness, sadness, and it helps to release, I think, a bit of the tension. I ended up buying a few of these. You could buy them in sets. You used to get a VHS video. and a CD, and then it was DVD and CD. So I have a few DVDs of these, and these four are actually, three, sorry. These three are kind of three of my favourites from this series. So you've got So Glad, The Mountain Homecoming, and Good News. And Bill and Gloria Gaither get a whole bunch of these Christian gospel worship artists together, and they all have, it's like a big party almost. They have this great praise and worship session, and the songs on here, they just made me feel so much better at times. Whenever I was feeling low, a lot of times I would either grab a DVD and stick it on, or load up, we had a 6 CD player at one time back in the late 90s. It was down the stair. I would load a few of these up in there and just listen to them, and honestly they made a difference for me. I'm not saying these might work for everybody, you know, but certainly if you're into the Christian, if you are a Christian, if you're kind of interested in it in any way, definitely check it out. It's not, you know, it's completely different to, obviously, it's not rock and metal or any of that kind of stuff. It's entirely different. But, you know, that's what makes the world a better place, is variety. And I honestly found that these picked me up, and a lot of times I started listening to these in the mornings when I was getting ready for work, eating my breakfast and getting myself organised. I would put these on in my room and just have them on in the background, instead of watching the news. You know, we'd listen to the radio and get the news, or watch the TV and get the breakfast news. And again, that's another thing to do if you're feeling low, is stay away from the news. I noticed that myself. I was just watching the news tonight again. It was pretty pathetic, to be honest. So stay away from the news. Just get the good news instead. So, as I say, this is the Gotthard Gospel series. It is gospel worship, but it's such a feel-good series. If that is something you're interested in checking out, please do, you know. But as I say, these are just things that helped me and that I wanted to share, just in case. And another from the worship, gospel and worship, another group that I like, they're kind of more contemporary, they're a bit more modern, sort of pop rock kind of style musically, is Hillsong Music Australia. And this is live worship from Hillsong. As I say, Hillsong Music Australia. It's a big group of worshippers and musicians. And so this one's called Touching Heaven, Changing Earth. Now these guys have a load of CDs out as well. I think this is sort of the late 90s this dates back to. I'm not really sure, but this is an earlier one. But really, again, it's got such uplifting music and lyrics. So the Gotthard Gospel series and Hillsong Australia, these are two things I go to if life is getting me down. And I bet a lot of people are a wee bit surprised at me showing these, but you know, I can't begin to tell you how invaluable these things are, or have been in my life. So I appreciate having discovered them. And as I say, the relaxing side, you've got, you know, these. Don't laugh at it, because seriously, it's all good, really. Now, regarding rock and metal, I could maybe suggest, I mean, I don't know if you've heard or checked out, there is a band called Eclipse, which I think I've shown one or two of theirs in the past, but they're from Sweden. They're modern, kind of traditional hard rock heavy metal, new wave of traditional heavy metal. Eric Martinson's involved with them, and he's involved in a few musical projects just now. So Eclipse is one band I suggest you have a look at because their music is really upbeat and feel good. Eric Martinson is also connected with W.E.T or W.E.T, which has Jeff Scott Soto, again melodic hard rock, brilliant stuff. He's also connected with Nordic Union. That's him and Ronnie Atkins from Pretty Maids. Good stuff on there. And Ammunition is another band he is involved with. Now, I've just ordered one of their CDs. I heard about one of their songs on YouTube, liked the sound of it. When I discovered Eric Martinson was involved, then I was interested. So you could have a listen to them if you're looking for something different in the rock. Other bands, what else have we got? Well, you've got the Bonfire Temple of Lies. Get that on. Get some classic Bonfire on. Who else? I'm trying to think. It's kind of, there's so many bands to sort of mention, kind of melodic. Perhaps you could check, I don't know if you're familiar with Treat, they're kind of melodic hard rock, or Domain, they're a German band, bands like that perhaps. But I just go onto YouTube and there is a channel. You may be aware, I think a lot of us in the rock and metal community are aware, the new wave of traditional heavy metal full albums. They post a lot of interesting stuff. Subscribe to Frontiers, Nuclear Blast, these guys, and you'll get notification of new stuff coming out. And just, it's a case of just take a different direction or in the music, just go down a lane and just see where it takes you musically. But I just hope that you find something that helps you. That's kind of what's helped me in the past in difficult times. If I'm wanting something different from the rock and metal or the pop, I also have some kind of traditional Scottish. There's two Scottish bands I would go to. One's Runrig, one is Wolfstone. Then they're kind of Celtic rock, folk rock stuff, but different as well. I also have some of my classical stuff. I'm very much into classical guitar, the nylon string. A lot of that I find relaxing and fascinating to watch even. I love watching a classical guitarist because there's so much going on and it's all very intricate and precise the way they play. I guess you could say something similar about jazz perhaps as well. I'm not a jazz fan, but that might be kind of the same thing. So yeah, just some ideas there. And know this, Tim, if you ever want someone to talk to, just message me. We're friends on Facebook. I've got an ear to lend if there's anything you want to get off your chest. I'll do what I can. I'm always there. I just, want to know that you're all right. So that is that video, and hopefully I haven't waffled on too much. I'll have another video or two coming up about some stuff that I've had added to my collection soon. So everybody, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.